Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before, and if not, hello. My name is Chelsea, and this is my craft channel. And by craft, I mean mostly witchcraft. Today I wanted to start a new video series about shifting. Woo! Because I feel like I haven't really heard a lot about shifting in the last couple years. When I first started shifting, it was back in like 2020. So I don't know. I feel like it's not really like as you don't see it as much anymore. But I decided that I'm going to do this journey again because I did do it before. Um, and it was interesting. But I am a different person now. That was literally almost 5 years ago when I started. So things have changed, and I think that I could accomplish some interesting things this time around. So we're going to get into it. This is kind of just like my intro to the series video because I haven't really like taken full action to it yet. Um I've been paying more attention to my dreams and stuff, but we'll get into that in a second. But this is just me explaining it and explaining what the series is going to be about. If you're going to be interested in it, woo. If not, you don't have to watch these. I'm still going to post like my other stuff. This is just going to be like an extra added thing. So it should be fun. And hopefully, I meet other shifters on here or something like that. Um, and maybe it'll inspire you to try it too. So we'll see. Before we get started, I should probably explain what shifting is, just in case you don't know what it is and you just decide to watch this video. So shifting is basically, I think, I mean, I wouldn't consider this like a full definition because I don't really necessarily fully know the science to it, but it's basically you shift your consciousness to another reality, whether it's similar to the current one that you live in right now, or it could be completely different. Um, I also like to think of it as you become aware of a different reality around you. Because sometimes I think in the mind, you can make it seem harder than it is by saying, oh, well, I have to move my consciousness to a whole nother galaxy, to a whole nother universe, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that kind of psychs you out a little bit. So I don't know. That's not usually what I like to say, but I do feel like that is like the gist of it. Most people are going to explain it as that. So it's just easier. But I like to think of it as I'm literally just tuning into another reality. So whatever is around me is changing basically, whether, and that can include my appearance and like blah blah blah. But yeah, so that's what that is. It does sound a little crazy, but I also believe that when we go to sleep and we dream, we are doing the same thing. We just call it dreaming. And I know a lot of people don't pay attention to their dreams or remember them or anything like that. I do dream work. Like I try to remember my dreams every night. I do readings on them. Like I try to decipher if there's any messages or anything like that, or like just feelings that I'm feeling, lessons that I can learn from the dream, etc. Because when you're in a dream, most of the time you don't know you're dreaming, and you feel and experience life like it feels like real life, whether or not the physics of it makes any sense. Like if you don't know that you're dreaming, you think that this is your real reality. So um I don't know, it's a whole thing. But I'm into it. So, and I just feel like, I mean, if we do the same thing while we sleep and we dream, then I'm sure that shifting is definitely possible. It's just a matter of, do you believe that you can do it or not? So there we are. But that's what it is. So if you're into that, keep watching. If not, that's okay. I'll see you in another video. Um, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about my first time shifting and what that experience was like before I get into what I want to do this time around. So basically, back in 2020, TikTok was a big thing, and I don't even think I had TikTok yet. And my friend actually was she like saw it on social media or whatever, and she brought it up. And I had just started watching My Hero Academia, and so I used to talk to her about it, about the show, because like I really liked it and she had watched it, yada yada. It was my first anime ever, so I was just like really into it and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, people are like talking about shifting and like people have met Dobby, blah blah blah, and all this stuff." And I was like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about." And so I ended up doing a little bit of research because I was like, "Well, I need to like know what this is." And I learned about it and I was like, "That seems really interesting and I want to try it myself." So I don't know what was going on back then, but I was like very confident that I was going to do it. And I think it was because at the time, like I was really getting into my dreams. I started paying attention to my dreams in 2019. So I was like really in it. And I was like, well, a lot of them say that they can do it through like a sleeping method. So I'll probably be able to do it really well because I can lucid dream pretty easily. Um, or at least I could train myself to do it, kind of thing. So I was like, I'm gonna do this shit in a couple days. Like, please. And it did end up happening, kind of. It was like a weird, but I'll explain the story in a second. But that's what she's the one that got me like into it and everything. And so after that day, I continued to do a little bit more research. I tried to learn more about the physics of it because I am a science girl. Like I literally went to school for philosophy, but I do love science. Like, and I do think that they go together. I feel like people are either very philosophical or they're very scientific. I don't think that everything that the brain does is exactly just the brain working. Like, I feel like there is some spiritual elements to things that our body does and stuff like that. Dreaming is like something that scientifically happens to everyone. It's just not everyone remembers. Most people don't. Um, but also your brain activity is the same when you are asleep as when you die. So I'm like, hello. I mean, to me, that's just like clear tell signs. Like they clearly like go hand in hand, but whatever. Not the point. Um, so after a couple days of doing research, I kind of became obsessed because that's how I am. I get obsessed with things. Oh my god, that was scary. Um, and that's okay because I get interested in stuff. So it's fine that I was a little like whatever. But one time I went to sleep. Actually, I just fell asleep because this was during COVID, and also I was still in school and it was just a lot happening and I just used to just fall asleep all the time. I was like, do I have narcolepsy? Like I don't know what's going on, but I would literally just knock out. So one time I was just doing my homework and then next thing I knew I was asleep. And I found myself in this white void. Um if you've ever seen The Good Place, it's literally Janet's void. Like that's what it looked like. Um and I was just chilling and then above me this hole opened up in the void and a huge clump of clay dropped down right in front of me. I was like, what the hell is that? And then it started morphing into a huge archway and the archway started glowing. So I like looking back now, I'm like, okay, that made sense that that happened because when I was doing research about shifting and stuff like that, people would explain how you can shift and yada yada. And a lot of people were like, oh, imagine a doorway of light, blah, blah, blah. So I think that that's just what manifested in my head because that's what I believed was going to happen or that's how it would happen. So I start walking into the light of the archway. And then for some reason, I think subconsciously I just got kind of scared and I was just like, "Oh, wait a minute." Because I'm pretty like aware in my dreams and stuff like that and I had just fallen asleep, like I think my brain kind of clicked like, "Girl, you might get into some deep shit that you were not ready for." So I actually pulled out of my body and I watched my body go into the light thing, and then my body disappeared. The archway was still there, but I was gone. Um, Now when I dream, most of the time I'm dreaming in, I don't know what this is called, first person, not really sure. Normally I'm dreaming like I am myself or like I am someone usually. But there are times, plenty of times where I am dreaming and I can see everyone else. I don't have a body, but I'm watching everything and nobody interacts with me. Like I'm just watching it like on TV or something, but I'm not a person watching. And then other times I am a person and I'm still just watching. In that instance, I was just nothing and I just watched myself go in there. So now I'm kind of standing there and I'm like, well, I don't know where I went, and like, should I go in there? Like, what are we doing? And then I turn and Bakugo Katsuki is standing right there. He had on a tank top, a white tank top, his black, like, baggy pants that he's usually wearing, and his hands were in his pockets. And this was before, no. This was like the beginning of me, like, liking Bakugo's character. Because I didn't really care about him the first time, like, I watched and stuff, but after a while I was like, I do fuck with him. I actually think he's hilarious. But I was most excited when it came to shifting to meet him and Midoriya. So he ended up popping up and he didn't say anything. He literally was just looking at me. And I was like, do you know how to get out of here? Like, it was just, unfortunately, I wasn't like in the present, I think, enough of whatever was happening, whether it was a dream or whether, I don't know. Um, and all I knew was I didn't want to be there anymore. Like, I was just kind of freaked out because it was literally like 3 days after I had learned about shifting and all this stuff, and I just, once again, I think subconsciously I just was not ready for that. Um and he literally was just like, and then he turned around and he just was like gesturing for me to follow him. So I did. And then I heard a bunch of voices and I wasn't in the void anymore. And then I woke up and I was back in my bed. And it was weird because I remembered thinking that the voices were my sister's boyfriend was home and he was just talking and I could hear. But when I woke up, no one was home. It was just me. So I was like, okay, that was weird. And at the time, I didn't know that that was like a symptom. Like, you sometimes you hear things and stuff like that. And later on, I ended up hearing a lot of other different things over the course of doing this. So I don't know. I have a thing with hearing maybe, but yeah, that was like my first ever kind of shift experience. Now, I did shift quite a few times. My only thing with shifting was I never stayed like long enough where I felt like, okay, I was there for a whole day or I was there for a week or months or years. Like, people have, I've heard people like stay for like very extended periods of time, and I had just never experienced that. And that is what led me to my demise. No, I'm just kidding. So now we can talk about why I quit. So, because I did stop for a long time, and this is why I'm deciding to reboot right now. Um, After that experience, immediately I just had a lot of regret because I was like, damn, I could have shifted. Like, and I think I just kept beating myself up about it, about the fact that I was too scared to just do it. Um, because I never had that same exact experience again. And I used to wonder, like, if I just went through the archway, like, would I have actually stayed there for the extended period of time that I've been like trying to? I'm not trying to be there forever. Like, um, I just want to experience a different reality in the same way that I experience reality here. Like, time is linear here. This is what I'm used to. A minute is 60 seconds, like an hour is 60 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never experienced time in that manner when I was there. So a lot of the times I would tell myself that, oh, it was just a dream or something like that. But I don't Like, I know it wasn't a dream. I think it was just me being hard on myself because I told myself like, "Damn girl, like you effed up." That was my first time doing anything like that. Like, I was paying attention to my dreams and I could lucid dream every now and then, but like I got to a point where I was doing some shit. I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing some shit. Like, maybe I'll do a story time about that at another point, but this is just an intro video, so um but I was working on it every single day, and because of that, my consciousness started to I started to be able to be conscious. It's somewhere else. I couldn't tell you where it is. Because I also did have a waiting room. A waiting room is basically like a place that you want to go if you want to you're like in between shifting. Like, you're not fully shifted to said place, but you are also not just asleep. And I made my waiting room my actual room, and basically I made my closet the thing that would help me shift. So I would just go through the closet and it would be like an elevator, and then I would go to I would go through the elevator and then I would just magically be there. Um and during that period of time when I had my waiting room, I would be roaming around my house, but I would be lucid dreaming and I would see things, and sometimes I would go different places. I went through the elevator a few times. I just didn't necessarily always end up at in my hero. Um but I saw some interesting things when I went through that elevator. So I mean, it was just a very crazy time. And then I started to just get scared because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I watched too many movies and shit, and obviously I do think that there's a lot of stigmatism around. I don't know if that's the right word. Oh my god. But there's a lot of just things around stuff like that make you nervous. Like, you see movies and people talking on media, and I don't know if you're scared of ghosts and shit like that. And I used to be really scared of the movie Insidious, and I feel like he was just lucid dreaming the whole time. Not that he was in a dream, but I feel like when you're lucid dreaming, you're on another plane. So, and I used to get paranoid as hell, that I would end up in a thing like that. So I think that all of that just combined, and me not really knowing that much about shifting and everything, was just too much for me to handle, and I drove myself insane. I really did. I was just every day I felt like a failure, that I woke up and I was not in my dorm in UA. And then it was funny because when I would wake up in a dorm in UA, or I was talking to Aizawa, or I was training, one time I even was fighting Stain with Ida and Midoriya. You would think that I would be like, "Oh my god, I did it." No, babe. In the moment, I was like, "Why didn't you stay?" I was really hard on myself. That's what shifting did to me the first time. And that's okay. I have learned, but that is why I quit, because I was just every day I was just I don't want to be here, and I stopped living in the present here because I was so focused on wanting to be there. And I think that it just got really unhealthy, mentally. And the other crazy part was no one knew. I think I told 3 people, and then I didn't even tell them the all of the things that I was doing, because I knew that they thought I was crazy. This was the beginning of my spiritual journey and everything. So the people around me now are very used to my stuff. I tell them about my dreams and my journey and shit, and um my witchcraft and everything, and everybody's very accepting of me and things like that. But at the time it wasn't really like that, so I was just doing all of this by myself. And then on top of that, I also do think that social media was a little toxic with that too, because I would see things that was basically you're crazy if you believe this, and no, you're not crazy. It was just a lot happening. And I am glad that it kind of died down, because hopefully if other people were experiencing what I was experiencing, you need a break. You need a break, babes. So I ended up taking a break, and I took a break for a long time. But because I took that break from shifting, I also took a break from lucid dreaming and stuff. And that was pretty annoying because I care about my dreaming and everything. So it did take a little bit of a toll on that. But here we are, ready to do it again, and I'm excited. My goals this time, because now that I know I can shift, because I did do it many, many times. I even once shifted to, that well, if you like My Hero, um I think it's the end credits of season 4 where like they are in like a medieval version of themselves. I've been there too, which was interesting. Only twice, but that was fun. Um it was only, once again, everything is literally, I'm there for like a few minutes. But I just know what's going on and everything like that, so that's fun. But I have done it, so my journey this time isn't about, oh, can I or can I not do it? I know that I can. It's just a matter of getting my consciousness to like be grounded in whatever reality. I don't really know how I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to be completely honest with you, but that is why I'm documenting it. It's not even, I mean, I hope that people get stuff out of this series that I'm going to do, but it's also really just for myself because last time I didn't document it, and I kind of wish I did because I think it would have been nice to look back and like see where my head was at. And also good for just future, like knowing, okay, this method works for me, blah 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 blah, things like that. I do have a bunch of journals, so I'm gonna go through those actually and just like highlight all the shit that worked and stuff. But my goal this time is to ground myself in the reality so that I can actually be there for an extended period of time, even if it's just an hour, even if it's just 10 minutes. Like that's fine. That's fine. That's all I'm trying to do. I just want to be there slightly longer. Um Once again, I'm not really sure how I really don't know how I'm going to do that. But I am reading this book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This book is amazing, and I think that everyone should read this book, genuinely. Like, it's not a hard read, which is good. I'm almost halfway. It's not a hard read necessarily because the way that he explains stuff is he actually asks questions that you would ask based on the things that he's saying, because and then like he'll rebuttal it. And I feel like that is like the best way for me to learn because I'm reading the stuff and I'm like, okay, well, but you're saying this, and what about this? And like, he will literally answer the questions that I ask. And I think it's great. And it's basically just about how your mind can be your biggest enemy because a lot of us live in the past. We get our sense of self from the past. And a lot of us live in the future in our heads because we don't like our present. And so we're always thinking about, oh, in the future, in the future, in the future, that you don't actually live in the present and you don't do anything to actually get to that future. Um, and I have experienced that before. So I've been working on just being in the present moment. And I do think that it's going to help with my shifting journey. So I just feel like the timing of everything is just perfect. And I've been thinking about shifting for months now, but I was too nervous to like actually try again. But now that I'm reading this book, I feel a lot better and I'm going to do it. So, but that's my goal this time. My strategy thus far, um I'm still going to do it by lucid dreaming. I feel like that was the best thing that I did because it didn't only help me with shifting, it helped me with my spiritual awareness. I felt like I was really in tune with the universe during that time of my life when I was like shifting because I would go to sleep meditating every night, like every night, because the motivation was there. I was like, I need to be in UA. And it's not just about the people, it's also because I always wanted a quirk. Like I'm like, hell yeah, I want a fucking quirk. I'll talk about like my actual DR and stuff in another video, but yeah, I definitely had the motivation and I was meditating every night. Like I would go to bed really early so that I had time to meditate. I would listen to a subliminal in my headphones and then I would usually do the Raven method, but I stopped like counting and all that stuff. I would usually just do a little bit of affirmations and then as I felt myself falling asleep, I would say them literally out loud because I felt like I don't know, it just did something to me. And I would usually fall into the trance that I needed to and I would become lucid, which was great. And I would also put moonstone right on my third eye. And I felt like my third eye was like, bam, like that was the closest to being like fully opened, I think, in my whole life. So it's besides when I was a child. So I'm definitely going to do that method again. I want to get another moonstone crystal because I don't know. I just feel like the energy from mine is just drained. I'm like, damn, I've been using you. I'm sorry. But I feel like that worked the best. Um and I am going to do the waiting room again because I do feel like even if I didn't shift my waiting room, it did something. Now, I did have some weird experiences in my waiting room. I will say. I did see some things. But they weren't necessarily scary. Like there was this one thing that would like always recurringly happen. It was basically I would just like see this like shadow figure. And normally I would be terrified, but for some reason I wasn't really scared of it. I don't know why. I would always just be like, "Hello, like, do you want something? Like, why are you always like hovering?" um, but I don't see it anymore because I don't really lucid dream in my house anymore. I usually just if I do lucid dream, which I don't a lot anymore, um, I'm like somewhere else. So, but when I was like really into it, I did like a test thing for 2 weeks where I meditated like that before I went to bed and I said my affirmations and I was practicing like water bending and stuff here and like I was like telling myself like I would go to the gym and stuff and like I would like be like I'm training for whatever like to be a new way and yada yada like because I felt like that made me feel more connected and I was also learning Japanese and I'm learning Japanese again. So and like sometimes I would have dreams where we're speaking Japanese to each other and like I knew what they were saying. Like it was a whole thing. So I did get like really far in my journey and then I just stopped. So I'm trying to get back to that and but I'm definitely going to do the lucid dreaming and then I'm just going to vibe. I know a lot of people have a lot of different methods. Um I don't think I'm a method girly. I think I've come to the conclusion I just like to listen to a subliminal, say my affirmations, and just like kind of go to sleep. I do, and I don't like, I can do it laying on my back, like the Raven method, but I don't necessarily like doing the starfish. It doesn't feel natural, and then I usually don't fall asleep. Like I need to be asleep to be able to do it. Um, so yeah, and I do feel that same feeling that I feel when I do lucid dream slash shift. I do feel that sometimes when I just randomly fall asleep or something like that. So I like it's there. It's there. I just have to reawaken it. Um that's my strategy thus far. I'm gonna keep updating with different videos explaining what I've done and stuff like that. But for now, this is it. I'm gonna start tonight. I'm very excited. I actually might go get some crystals to help me out since I'm going to be over there by my favorite crystal shop. And we'll see the vibes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are a fellow shifter, please let me know down below. If you ever have any questions or anything, I would love to chat about it because I haven't talked about it in a long time. And I really don't see a lot of people posting about it anymore. Um, there's just one girl that I really like. I don't remember her name. I have to try to remember for the next video, but I love her and I feel like she was giving the girlies the content, especially the My Hero content. So I am, but she hasn't posted in like, not about shifting in like a couple years. So I don't know. It's been like 2 years since I've last like really tried to shift. And I have been rewatching My Hero and I have been having more dreams with them. So I do think I'm on the right track, but I have to start doing stuff with intention because I'm not doing anything with intention right now. I'm just falling asleep and I happen to dream about them or something. So there we go. But that's the end of this video. I didn't want to make it too long. I know 30 minutes is already kind of crazy, but there's a lot of information. So, but I hope that if you had no idea what I was talking about before and you got all the way to the end, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe you'll want to do it yourself. If you have any questions, you can always just leave it in the comments. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. I mean, I'm basing everything off of whatever I've done, so it might not be the same for you, but you never know. But I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.